We've got quite a bit to go over in today's video. A pretty major PlayStation 4 title has been leaked on the PlayStation Store, one that I think the majority of us knew would be happening at one point or another. However, it might be happening a little bit sooner than you think, and I am talking about the Resident Evil 3 remake. Given that we are coming off the heels of the Resident Evil 2 remake earlier this year, I thought the Resident Evil 3 remake would be something they would announce probably in a year or two, but it looks like we're getting it a lot sooner than that. On top of that, you can play the Crew 2 and the Blazing Shots update for free this coming weekend, and it'll be kicking off tomorrow. So first of all, Resident Evil 3 remake covers have appeared on the PlayStation Store. The games tracker on GameStat, which tracks everything that has been added to the PlayStation Store, has added covers for the rumored Resident Evil 3 remake, confirming its existence. There are 3 covers that have been listed, one noting Resident Evil 3, one noting Biohazard RE3, and then one noting Biohazard RE3Z version. Covers for Capcom's Project Resistance were also posted, confirming the game's official title to be Resident Evil Resistance. So for that, we've got Resident Evil Resistance posted, as well as Biohazard Resistance. So quite a bit to digest there as far as Resident Evil 3 Nemesis getting a full-on remake, seemingly much like Resident Evil 2. Obviously, we don't have any confirmation that way, but I imagine that that would be what's happening, and that is incredibly exciting. While I don't think Resident Evil 3 was quite as good as Resident Evil 2, some people are going to vehemently disagree with me on that, and that is perfectly fine. I will concede the fact that Resident Evil 3 is a fantastic game, and it was received very well back when it was released. IGN gave it a 9.4 out of 10, OPM in the UK giving it a perfect 10 out of 10, so it obviously got very good review scores. And now if you're telling me we're gonna get the game remade from the ground up, much like the Resident Evil 2 remake, sign me up. I am all on board for that. And given how successful the Resident Evil 2 remake is, it's very easy to see why Capcom is doing it. I imagine the Resident Evil 3 remake coming off of the success of the Resident Evil 2 remake, hey, there's potential that this will be even bigger. That's generally what happens when these games are of quality and you can parlay one release and one quality release into another quality release. Usually they should be getting bigger and bigger just because that's the natural evolution. If a lot of people checked out the Resident Evil 2 remake, which, spoilers, a lot of people did, it sold very well, then just as many people should check out the Resident Evil 3 remake. You know, going back into the archives and assessing which game is more iconic in gaming, I probably would say Resident Evil 2 is a more notable game. However, it's not by a far stretch, and Resident Evil as an IP in general is what's big. It's not necessarily the basis point of Resident Evil 2 being this massive game. That's why it sold really well. Yes, it was a fantastic game, but with RE2 there was also this audience of people that had no attachment to Resident Evil 2 ever checking out the game for the first time, and that would be a similar scenario with Resident Evil 3. Obviously there would be those people that are coming back and playing the game again that played it back on the PS1, but there would also be that influx of people that never had played the game back in '99, and they would be checking out the game for the first time on the PlayStation 4. Now, it was listed on the PlayStation Store, so obviously at this point this is a PS4 game. Remains to be seen on whether it will be a cross-gen title, because you would think that if this game is going to be coming out in the first half of 2020, it would be announced by now, and if it's not coming out in the first half of 2020, well then you're talking about the game coming out in the second half, and if it's coming out in July or August, entirely possible. But I raise you 2 questions about that. First of all, is that too close to the PlayStation 5's release? Probably not. I think I make a little bit too big of a point about that fact, about games releasing right before the release of the PS5 or even after the PS5 is out. If a game is high quality enough, people are gonna buy it regardless, and hey, with Resident Evil 3, if it is released on the PS4, you're gonna have a base of north of 100 million consoles out there and 100 million users being able to buy the game, whereas on the PS5, you're only working on the people that are buying the console at launch. So that is something to definitely take into account. But another point I raise, is it too quick of a turnaround from the Resident Evil 2 remake? Obviously, burnout is definitely a thing. If you release games from a franchise way too frequently, there is that gamer that's gonna be out there that's like, man, I just played Resident Evil 2 remake back in January of last year. Maybe they even checked it out after launch, whatever the case may be, and they might not be all too eager to check out Resident Evil 3 right away if it is out in, say, let's say June. I don't know, that's a seemingly pretty quick turnaround. 18 months between Resident Evil games prior to Resident Evil 2 being released. When did Resident Evil 7 came out? I believe back in early 2017. I actually think it was January of 2017. So you're talking a 2-year span, and you're shortening that to a hypothetical 18 months with Resident Evil 3. I don't think it's a big deal. I just think that's another talking point that does deserve to be mentioned when talking about the release of Resident Evil, because I don't want Capcom to get to a point where they're relying on the same franchises over and over again, and I don't think they're going to be doing that. I think they realize that they have to create multiple compelling IPs, and they already have that. They have Monster Hunter, they have Devil May Cry, they have Resident Evil. By all means, release Resident Evil games, and honestly, me being the beacon for that for Capcom, I don't need to do that at all, because Capcom, unlike many other publishers, they have done a phenomenal job over the last few years of really establishing multiple compelling IPs, whether it be a Resident Evil, whether it be a Devil May Cry, Monster Hunter, Mega Man. They're looking to establish more as well. I wouldn't rule out the idea of a new Onimusha or an Okami game happening in the future as well, given that we did have those games remastered, and that is usually a harbinger of things to come. Now I'm getting a little off topic, you guys get the idea. A lot of hype surrounding Resident Evil 3. And if you've yet to check out Resident Evil 2, I definitely would give that a look, given that you can get it for as low as $15. At least that was the price that it was available for over Black Friday, so I imagine it'll be at that price at some point as well. At this point, I wouldn't pay north of $20 for it. Alright, also, I do want to go over a PlayStation blog post that notes Play the Crew 2 and the Blazing Shots update for free this weekend. Yes, from December 5th to December 9th, the Crew 2 will be enjoying a free weekend for you guys to check out. And this is coming from Michael Reparaz, editor at Ubisoft. Drive Zora or Speedboat into Ubisoft's open-world recreation of the United States. In the Crew 2's open-world recreation of the US, every street is a racetrack, every river is a playground for speedboats, and every city skyline is a giant acrobatics course. PlayStation 4 players can jump in for free this weekend from December 5th until December 9th and use the Crew 2's cars, planes, and watercraft to explore and compete across every inch of its gigantic scale model of the country. And if you want to keep tearing up the Crew 2's roads after the free weekend is over, you can grab the deluxe edition of the game for up to 70% off at the PlayStation Store from now until December 12th. The free weekend is also noted to be a chance to check out the content added in the recent Blazing Shots update, including new rides, new vanity items, including all new underglow effects, and new weekly live summits, special 9-event PvE challenges that invite players to test their mettle and carve out a place on the leaderboards. Blazing Shots is the 4th major free update to come to the Crew 2 following Gator Rush, which introduced Hovercraft's Demolition Derby, which added its namesake event and destructible cars, and Hot Shots. There is a ton more information about the Crew 2 over on the PlayStation blog post, and I will leave a link for that in the description box below. The Crew 2 is a game that I can talk a lot about. It came out back in July of 2018, I believe, and what I remember is that this game came out to pretty little fanfare, and it became very cheap very, very quickly. Not a lot of people checked it out. It was even released at a time where there weren't a lot of games coming out. However, it's not like the Crew 1 was this massive racing game and the Crew 2 was released and not everybody was all over that. However, seemingly over the past few years, it has been updated consistently from Ubisoft, and the reception these days about the Crew 2 is much more positive than what it was at launch. At launch, the Crew 2 had a generally mixed reception, but at this point, the reception is relatively strong. If we look at the PC version of the game, I always like to use Steam reviews as a general barometer of how the user base is enjoying the game, and All-Time Reviews has a mixed reception, 10,404 user reviews that's since release, and it paints the game at 69% positive, so that is a mixed reception. However, if you look at the recent reviews, that's across the last 30 days, 1,594 user reviews, and 90% of those are positive, so seemingly from that vantage point, the Crew 2 has really become a better game, and given that it is going to enjoy a free weekend from December 5th to December 9th, it's a game that I probably would say, hey, go give it a download, try it out. We don't have a lot of great racing games on PlayStation 4, unfortunately. Gran Turismo has lost a lot of its luster, and it's not offering you that open world racing game experience that the Crew 2 is going to offer you, so it's very different on that end as well. And of course, we don't have Forza Horizon on PlayStation 4. I would absolutely kill to have Forza Horizon on PlayStation. That's one of Xbox's exclusives that's definitely a high quality exclusive, and I'd love to have that on PS4, but hey, that's why people are buying Xboxes, or people have gaming PCs so they can play games like Forza Horizon. So I'm not going to be begging for every Xbox exclusive to be on the PS4. Whatever the case may be, the Crew 2, again, a free weekend from December 5th to December 9th, and until December 12th, you can enjoy a steep discount on the game as well. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, Resident Evil 3 has been seemingly leaked on the PlayStation Store. Let me know what you guys think about that. Definitely want to hear from you guys. Are you as excited as ever for the idea of Resident Evil 3 being remade, or Do you think there's some credibility to that notion that, hey, maybe this might be a little bit too quick of a turnaround? It's just the point that I'm bringing up. I don't think it's gonna make a world of difference. I don't think it's gonna make a difference at all. And I think Resident Evil 3 as a remake is gonna be absolutely phenomenal. However, it is a point I wanted to bring to your guys' attention. And The Crew 2, again, enjoy a free weekend on that from December 5th until the 9th. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.